As a high school dropout, I had to make a difficult choice: be demoted or lose my job. Emma, our new sales manager, announced major changes. From now on, only college graduates would handle deals. The rest of us would be relegated to making coffee or cleaning. Those who objected faced demotion or termination. Emma seemed determined to get rid of me. I knew she had no intention of keeping me around. I was aware of the consequences my departure would have on Smith Corporation, but I decided to resign. True to predictions, chaos ensued at the company. The $700 million deal with Sun Holdings was left in limbo. Emma had no idea that I was the one managing it. She would soon discover the truth. I'm Robert Johnson, 62 years old, working in the sales department at Smith Corporation. Our company, in the wholesale industry, has an annual revenue of $30 billion. My job involves overseeing ongoing deals with regular clients. Though I'm too old for field sales or cold calling, I manage many contracts from my desk, with occasional meetings outside. Emma Davis, the accomplished sales manager, held a grudge. She had risen through the ranks, earning her position through impressive credentials from NYU. Coinciding with my rehire, her promotion likely sparked resentment toward my return after retirement. Approaching my desk, she asked, "How's the work going, Robert?" I responded, "Well, it's probably not making much progress. Reading documents must be challenging with your mature eyesight. About half of eligible retirees are rehired, so my situation was not uncommon." I acknowledged that my eyesight couldn't match the sharp vision of the younger staff, but I kept a calm demeanor. Emma continued, "You should have retired for good. You weren't contributing much even before you left. Is it because you didn't finish high school and can't afford your living costs? You're just stealing a paycheck." I know my lack of a high school diploma affects how others perceive me. In a world that highly values education, being a 60-year-old high school dropout stands out as unusual. It's challenging to be taken seriously when I couldn't even reach a managerial position. Emma had been bringing up this topic for the past 2 years, ever since her own promotion. It was clear she wanted me to leave. She placed a stack of documents on my desk. "Here's some work for you," she said. "You should be grateful." I already had my own tasks, but she seemed to think I wasn't doing enough. I sighed as I saw the overtime hours ahead. "Understand?" she asked. "Surprisingly obedient, aren't you? Even with your long career, being a high school dropout means you have to follow the lead of younger people. I wouldn't want to be in your shoes." The atmosphere in the room turned tense as Emma's dismissive demeanor left me feeling unsettled. Days later, she gathered the sales team and announced startling changes. "From now on, you'll only handle paperwork," she declared. "Make sure to serve tea to the college graduates so they can work comfortably." I tried to interject, "But I have ongoing deals I'm responsible for." Emma swiftly cut me off. "Those deals will be taken over by the college graduates. As a high school dropout, you don't need to worry about them. Now go fetch some tea." Turning to another employee, Emma ordered, "You will be responsible for keeping the entire building spotless, with no dust allowed." When the employee protested about having deals to manage, Emma snapped, "I already told you, the deals will be handled by the college graduates. Don't make me repeat myself." Despite her explanations, the reasoning behind the new assignments remained puzzling to the entire sales department. Sensing our confusion, Emma clarified, "High school dropouts and graduates will handle the grunt work, while college graduates will manage all the deals. This is the most efficient way to work from now on." "Certainly. Does anyone have any issues with that proposal? We're open to hearing thoughts or concerns if anyone has them. The goal is to ensure we're all on the same page and comfortable moving forward. Please feel free to share your perspective if you have any questions or reservations about the plan." Emma glowered at anyone who dared to protest. One employee voiced their concern, "But if we abruptly replace the person leading this, our clients might lose faith in us." "Hush," Emma snapped. That's why uneducated people are useless. Clients don't trust them and prefer someone else in charge. Can't you see that? The employee fell silent, unable to counter. Emma added, "If you can't accept these changes, you'll be transferred to our distribution facility in Nebraska. If that's not suitable, you can leave." The room grew still. The distribution center in Nebraska was known for monotonous work, sorting and moving packages all day, with lower pay than the headquarters. Employees would prefer to stay at the headquarters, even if it meant doing mundane tasks like cleaning and making tea. I couldn't fathom how Emma's decision would benefit Smith Corporation. I finally spoke up, unable to hold my tongue any longer. "If you change the person leading ongoing deals, it will only increase the client's distrust. There's a rhythm to these transactions." Emma's glare was intense. "What's your issue?" she demanded. I was taken aback by her harshness and could only smile awkwardly. As a non-graduate, I witnessed Emma's victorious grin. Those who leave school early face limited options, either a demotion or being let go. You're past your prime and have no value, so there's no need to keep you around, she asserted, stunning me. It was evident that Emma had consistently singled me out. Whether one holds a high school diploma or not, the result is often relegated to mundane duties. Considering my advanced age only reinforced her desire to have me removed from the workplace. I don't mind working in Nebraska, sorting packages. They often need part-time helpers, so I'm sure they'd be happy to have a full-time employee like me. But if an older person like me, a 60-year-old grandfather, shows up, they might think I'm not the right fit. Emma chuckled. "So, what's your plan then?" I thought about my options. Likely, the CEO and HR department weren't aware of this change. If they knew, they probably wouldn't approve it. Clearly, this was Emma's unilateral decision. I could report it, but I'm tired of her constant hostility. I've saved enough for retirement, so leaving doesn't seem too bad. After a moment, I said, "I'll quit." Emma pretended to be disappointed. "If you wanted to keep working, you should have gone to the distribution center." The other employees were shocked. One of them spoke up. "Wait." "Quiet," Emma interrupted. "Lower-level staff should stay out of this." Emma dismissed the concern. Knowing things would only get worse, I didn't see the point in pointing it out. After being treated so poorly, should I write my resignation letter? Emma agreed. "Yes, do that. For someone your age, you at least know how to handle that." I quickly wrote the resignation letter. I never imagined my departure would happen like this. Regarding the handover process, Emma's response was dismissive. "No need for that. You only handle paperwork anyway." She seemed eager to see me go and even chuckled about it. It was evident she had been anticipating this moment. I thanked her and departed, while the employees appeared concerned, but Emma, content and unaware, didn't seem to notice. Without my presence, chaos would likely ensue, which would now be her responsibility. The next day, as I relaxed at home, Emma persistently called me. Although I had no obligation to answer, her calls were relentless, and I eventually picked up the phone. "Robert, what's going on?" Emma demanded, skipping any pleasantries. Her tone made it clear that the Smith Corporation was facing difficulties. She then proceeded to explain the situation. Apparently, Emma had successfully established a department where only college graduates handled deals. She had managed to divide the workload without the HR department or the CEO's knowledge for some time. Emma was in a cheerful mood, believing everything had gone according to plan. "Please, I need you to handle this $700 million deal with Sun Holdings. They have $10 billion in annual revenue, and continuing this relationship will bring substantial profits to our company." The silence in the room was deafening after her words. "Isn't the $700 million deal today? All our deals are now overseen by university-educated professionals. It's bound to succeed, so no need to be anxious." The employees exchanged uneasy glances. One of my former coworkers hesitantly informed manager Emma he resigned yesterday. What? You're saying he was in charge of the $700 million deal? Emma's face fell. There's no way an inexperienced person could manage something so significant. You must be lying. But the employees knew the truth, which they couldn't change. My former colleague had a UCLA degree, and Emma believed a college graduate's word was gospel. She decided to reassign the deal. You have a UCLA diploma, right? You can handle it, can't you? Emma pressed. When he hesitated, he eventually admitted quietly, I think the client will only be satisfied if it's Robert. Enough. If I say do it, then do it. If an uneducated dropout can manage it, so can you. Emma's frustration was evident. The young man reluctantly agreed. When he contacted the client, they insisted on me. He reported back to Emma, I told you. The client wants Robert. Emma was stunned. How could they possibly want someone like him, a high school dropout? What can he contribute, especially without the energy to make sales? She questioned. One of my colleagues responded, Aren't you aware of Robert's impressive career? His resume may be sparse, but he's highly respected in the industry. Many major companies work with us because of him. Emma, a recent graduate at 22 who had been in the same department for 20 years, had focused solely on my lack of formal education, disregarding my reputation. Since she disliked me, no one mentioned my background in her presence. What do you mean? Emma asked. If you only look at resumes, you might not know his background. But Robert is extremely well known. Many large companies do business with us because of him. My colleague explained, I can't discuss this further, but you should contact Robert. Realizing it was inappropriate to reveal more, my colleague stopped. Emma, who had fired me the day before, was now calling me in desperation. What's happening? She asked, clearly furious. I decided to explain. It's true my name is somewhat known in the industry. I inherited my sales talent from my grandfather, who was also a CEO. Because of him, many companies continue to do business with me. Nearly 40 years ago, I handled major deals with top trading companies. I was considered a legendary salesman back then. My story began in middle school. My grandfather was the CEO of Johnson Corporation, a conglomerate with annual revenues over $1 billion. I admired him deeply and helped out during vacations, doing tasks like making tea and cleaning. Though these tasks seemed menial, I was thrilled to be part of his company. When it was time to choose a path, while others went on to further education, I was determined to work at my grandfather's company. It was a reckless decision, but I was serious. I convinced my parents and grandfather to let me work and study simultaneously. I joined Johnson Corporation right after middle school and continued doing basic tasks until I was 20. I loved every moment of it. When I finally moved into sales, the excitement was overwhelming. My journey wasn't smooth. Securing contracts was challenging, and my approach needed refining. But I didn't give up. Eventually, I secured my first contract. The sense of achievement was immense. I finally felt like a true salesman. My skills really took off, and by 25, I'd landed a major deal with a big company. This was a turning point. I understood the key to success and started securing contracts with major firms. Rumors spread that working with me always meant profit, and soon, deals were flowing my way. I made it a point to understand clients' needs and offer tailored solutions, which likely contributed to their profits. Seeing my success rate, the sales manager began assigning me important deals. Companies started requesting me by name, and I closed those deals, building trust both within and outside the company. I became the top salesman, and even executives from major companies knew my name. My performance earned praise and headhunting offers from other firms. Despite this, I stayed at Johnson Corporation because I loved my grandfather's company. I ensured every deal was profitable, and many salespeople admired me. Though I never boasted, I knew I was considered a legend. When my grandfather retired at 75, the executive vice president took over as CEO. My father wasn't interested in the company, and I was too young to become CEO at 27. As the company restructured, things started to change. Johnson Corporation, the company I'd known since middle school, was no more. I felt sad seeing the changes daily and began considering a fresh start elsewhere. I decided to leave after properly handing over my responsibilities. Despite many offers from major companies, I joined Smith Corporation at 36. Since then, I've been working in sales here, but I've stepped back from prominent roles to let the younger generation shine. I explained Smith Corporation's current situation. All major clients are ones I secured, so it's no surprise they won't proceed without me. I manage so many deals that I didn't have time for administrative duties, which is why I didn't hold a formal position, though my salary was on par with managers. I was gradually passing on my responsibilities to younger employees, but being suddenly forced to resign meant I couldn't properly say goodbye or complete the handover. It's no wonder clients are saying they won't continue their deals. Emma was furious. "Why didn't you mention this sooner?" she demanded. "I did ask if a handover was necessary," I replied, "but if it's that important, you should have made it clear." She then told me I needed to inform the clients about the handover and assure them to continue doing business with Smith Corporation. I refused. Building trust is fundamental in business. If I tell clients about internal issues after resigning, they'll lose trust, and the deals will end quickly. Smith Corporation's annual revenue is $3 billion, but $15 billion comes from the deals I secured. The damage is $700 million, and at this rate, the company could hit rock bottom. "Come back to Smith Corporation," Emma said. "I'll talk to HR. Report to work immediately." I declined. "Even if I come back, you'll just treat me like a burden again. I can't work under someone who judges people solely by their resume and educational background." Emma's frustration was palpable. She realized the major deals were secured through my connections and was terrified of losing them. That's why she was desperate to bring me back despite having fired me. I decided to be honest. Every day, I was insulted for being a high school dropout. I was pushed aside. I can't work under someone who only values resumes and education. Even if I agree to restore the deals, you'd just see me as a burden again. Emma might change, but I doubted it. Her inability to earn trust was her own fault. "Is that all? Since I've retired, I'd like to relax." Before she could respond, I hung up and blocked her number. Later, I heard that Smith Corporation was in serious trouble. Not only was the $700 million deal affected, but I was also managing other major deals worth $500 million and $1 billion. When I missed those meetings, clients grew suspicious. Upon checking with Smith Corporation employees, they discovered I had retired. As a result, clients began terminating their contracts, saying there was no point in continuing without me. Smith Corporation started losing its major clients one after another. While we could salvage smaller deals, losing several major ones was a significant blow. A week later, Mr. Smith, the CEO, called me in. I wouldn't have responded to manager Emma's summons, but Mr. Smith was different. He'd had supported me for nearly 30 years. When I arrived at the office, I saw Emma sitting dejectedly in the corner and Mr. Smith, looking troubled at his desk. He sighed deeply. We had no idea she changed the sales department's operations. The suggestion of her demotion was unauthorized. I'm truly sorry for what happened. Please don't worry about it, Mr. Smith. You've always been good to me, I said, turning to Emma. Apologize to him. I'm very sorry, Emma said, barely holding back tears. Clearly, Mr. Smith had severely reprimanded her. The changes she made were without any approval, and I felt sorry for Mr. Smith. Mr. Smith continued, Our company is in serious trouble. We're losing major contracts rapidly, If this continues, our business will falter. We can still rescind your resignation if you're willing to come back. I don't mind returning, but I have one condition. What is it? Mr. Smith asked, looking concerned. I looked at Emma, whose expression had turned pale. You're fired, Emma. Emma immediately objected. Wait, you don't need to go that far. Do you realize the impact of your actions on me and the sales department? I asked her. This is a large company. If you lose your job, finding a similar position elsewhere will be extremely difficult. But I've always been a valuable asset to this company. I graduated from a prestigious university and have consistently been a top performer. How can you fire me based solely on your own judgment? Enough, Mr. Smith commanded. Unwilling to accept her termination, Emma persisted. Wait, Mr. Smith. Dismissing me is unfair. I've contributed to this company since I joined as a new graduate. Do you comprehend the consequences of your decision? Mr. Smith glared at Emma. You made unilateral changes without considering the impact on employees. Silence. Emma fell silent. I then addressed her. I may be older now, and my strength has diminished, but there's a limit to how much disrespect I can tolerate. Although I'm a high school dropout, that allowed me to learn the company's ways early and gain sales expertise faster than anyone. You mocked me without understanding my circumstances. Emma trembled. Your current job duties are unacceptable. If you allow me, I can return, handle the transition, and apologize to our clients, but only if you step down. In that case, I'm content to remain retired. The responsibility for all my work will be on you. Truthfully, I'm fine with either option, as I've saved enough for my retirement. What's your decision? Can you do it now? Mr. Smith considered my proposal. Emma, biting her lip in frustration, realized she couldn't rectify this mistake without me. As more contracts were canceled, she was overcome with despair. Unable to respond, she stood in silence. Mr. Smith nodded. Very well, she will be terminated. Pleading, Emma said, Please wait. I've contributed greatly to this company. Your hasty actions have nearly caused a $15 billion loss. Do you comprehend that? Faced with Mr. Smith's stern rebuke, she shrank back. Write your resignation letter and leave. Don't return tomorrow. Emma, understanding the situation, tearfully drafted her resignation letter. She then departed from Smith Corporation, never to return. Despite her education, Emma struggled to find a new job as news of her responsibility for my resignation had spread. Even when she managed to secure interviews, her arrogance led to her applications being rejected, leaving her unemployed for 6 months. Humbled by the numerous rejections, Emma eventually settled for a part-time position, earning a fraction of her previous income at Smith Corporation. As for me, I returned to Smith Corporation and began taking charge of major contracts, apologizing to clients along the way. Employees, initially concerned about the future, felt reassured by my return. News of my comeback spread, and with my sincere apologies, we successfully restored major contracts. It became evident that Emma had been quite arrogant in her dealings with clients, and they found it easier to work with us after her dismissal. Smith Corporation became easier to manage than before. I plan to retire at 65, and if the transition continues smoothly, the company will expand its business even after my departure. My career will end on a high note. Although I had left my grandfather's company, I am grateful to have joined this one. With my remaining years dwindling, I'm determined to put in my utmost effort and conclude my sales journey on a triumphant note. I want to pour my heart into my work and finish strong, leaving behind a lasting legacy of success.